Thank you for joining me for another video from the Trail of the Green Man. We are going to be taking a look at Leonardo da Vinci. If you'd like to know a little more about this gentleman, you can see it in the bio on the website, because there's quite a lot about this gentleman. You could have a whole website just dedicated to this one person. The reason why we're going to feature him, and especially today, it was more along the lines of like the origin of the Green Man for me. What did it all kind of mean, or why did the designers of the Green Man decide to use this shape? And when we take a look at Da Vinci, especially his knots, he designed 6 knots. I'll show you here. Now these are prints taken, and they're after Leonardo da Vinci. They're all copies. There is some originals of this 1 to 6 or whatever specific knot in specific museums, but they're really hard to track down and get a look at. But what we have here is knot 1, knot 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6, and there's probably some kind of riddle involved in all these kind of knots, but there's just a couple of little points I would like to pick up on. Firstly, for me, what made me take interest in Da Vinci was this picture, basically. If I just zoom in for a little bit, let me see. Now, without paying any attention to whatever's in the middle or something like that, these knots were designed by Da Vinci as... It's hard to... I suppose there is so much written about these, but they're basically like puzzles, unsolvable puzzles, and you hear a lot of like connections with the fact of like the Gordian knot and Alexander having to solve this riddle, basically. But the thing about the shape that caught my attention was how similar it is to our Green Man. If you take a look here, you can see the bottoms, you can see the shield outline, the curls here, same in the left and the right, the florid design at the top. It just seemed very similar at first, and this is what was my first interest came, especially if you would like to take a look at the Zeno narrative also on the website. You'll see that Leonardo da Vinci has been put forward as a brother of the Rosy Cross, and then when I seen this, it seemed too familiar, and I decided to take a little bit of a closer look. I'll just clear this. Now, before we go a little deep, I'll give you a kind of general idea of what these kind of things are. So we see Academia Leonardi Vin, and you can see he's not went with O for Leonardo, or he's not put in the CI for Leonardo Vinci. And in this one's a little bit harder to make out because of the quality of it. But what I have done, I have managed to track down this from this Bridgman Images, and as you can see, it's Acadea LRDI Leonardi, and this one has got no N, but it has the CI. And we've got one that's actually, we'll just take a look at the other ones here. So that was knot 1 and 2. This is 3 and 4. Academia Leonardi, and this one is Vici, and it's got an I on its side at the top. Whether that's supposed to be an I or a bar or something, we'll have to kind of wait and see. And if we look at this next one, we've got as if you were reading it from standing in the inside. So it's Leonardi Academia and Vici in the middle. And the last two, this one, I do have a better copy here. This one is actually in the British Museum, and you can just see how clear this is. And if you take a close look, it's Academia Leonardi Vin, but if you look at the ends, the bar, the crossbar and the ends are actually running the wrong way. They're supposed to be running from the top, running to the bottom, from left to right, front to end. So when you've got that in mind, and we take a look at this one, which is plate 6, this one is reading it from, if you were standing on the outside, Leonardo. And if we come to the one before it, this one is if you were standing in the inside and reading it. And then in that centre badge, you've got that N, the centre bar of that N is kind of like being reversed. So you can just tell that there's some kind of puzzle or riddle that's been installed in these knots. To what end purpose this riddle or puzzle, we may never know, but I feel as though he did leave some clues behind, especially in his notebooks that weren't published till after his death, thankfully. And we're going to use some of that information that we see in his notebooks and try to understand what we're seeing here in front of us. And it wasn't very long before you realise that the shape is interesting as well, and the fact that this knot runs through here in the background. You can see it in the middle here, as in the spare threads of this knot that's been made. And what I did kind of notice, when I'll just highlight some stuff for us, we'll highlight that nice knot there if we can make it out, is we could actually fit a heptagon around this knot and fit the knot inside the heptagon. And the heptagon seems to keep to the border, basically, of this kind of thing. It just seems to slot in very nicely. So obviously my interest was really piqued at this time. And then when you just take a kind of look at the shield, the Academia, we can see we can actually make the word Acadia for Acadia, whereas we've been talking about this before in various videos. But the thing for Acadia for me, or Acadie in the French, is obviously this is back in the 1400s. I don't think that this was a thing at the time. But what it does leave is this EM in the middle. And Academia being obviously of the learned sciences and things like that, or the learned, maths shouldn't be too hard, because if we take the value of the E and the M, I'll just get this here for you. I can actually bring this up. I've got this handy. E being 5 and M being 12, we get the value of 17. And 17, funny enough, is R. That would give us possibly Arcadia. And then you start to think about all the Poussin paintings, and of course you can find this information about Poussin on the website under his bio, under Poussin, and some stuff about his paintings. Also, in each of the paintings or the pictures, the letter R is always being pointed out, as if to have some significance between Acadia and Arcadia. And here we have this R being used in this same type of situation. So it's not hard to kind of think that Acadia or Arcadia is the home of Pan, basically, in the Greek, the kind of Greek legend, and Pan of the two horns and things. There's lots to read about him on the website, and how we kind of tie him into the Green Man. But what I was thinking about, when we take a look at all the other knots, how some use letters, some don't use letters, some have the letters reversed. And I think to my mind, in Leonardo, why doesn't he use the O for Leonardo? Why is that I being swapped? And then when I look at this one and I see Vin, and there's no Chi for like CI, while some others do, and this being not one, what do these things have in common? And I noticed that they're all Roman numerals. And what's more interesting is, if we extract Roman numerals from Leonardo Vin, if we look through it here, we have an L, we have, let's see, we have a D, we have an I, we have a V, and we have another I. If we extract all those letters, L, D, I, V, I, we can actually spell a word. And that word, if it runs the correct way, is an English word, livid, which means angry, or more than just angry. And if we read it the other way, we get the word divil, D-I-V-I-L. So because Leonardo was no O and there was an I in Vin, they've removed the C-I and C-I-I-I. These are all Roman numerals. And the Roman numerals that was left behind can spell out angry or devil reading backwards. So what is the connection between Leonardo da Vinci, a devil, and anger? It's a bit of a hard one. If you have any information that you would like to share about Leonardo da Vinci, come along, join us on the Discord or at the Facebook group. We would love to hear about you. I am going to show lots more information which leads on from this. It's all based around what is Leonardo da Vinci's devil, and I would love to share that information with you. Come along, join us, come and help. I'll see you there. Thanks for watching.